Testing. Testing.
All right, I think I got it. Let's see. Y'all ready? All right. All right. Oh, okay. We're in. Good evening, everyone. Everyone in the lovely sense. I would like to welcome you all to our regular CRA meeting. Today is August the 23rd. It is 5:30 p.m. Call the roll, please. Here. 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 Why? I gotta turn it on for you. Go ahead, please. Say it. No, don't press it. Say it. Say hello. No, it's her thing isn't on. Hello. Mine's on. Her see it's on my end, but not on her end. Mm. Director Chin, is your mic working? It's not turning red either. Oh. I mean, it's not turning green. It's green on my end, not on. Please give us a moment while we deal with some technical issues. Hello, hello. There we go.
Testing.
I'm here. You officially have roll call. But we can move on. We're going to figure out how to make this work. Do we have any public comment? No. And since Mr. Chin's is working, I guess we'll go right to is your mic working?
Yes, it is.
Okay, the administrative reports.
Thank you, Chair James, Vice Chair, and board members, and our distinguished audience tonight. Wanted to brief you a brief update on a CRA plan update. It is underway, and in fact, they have sent us the existing conditions sections, which is kind of the foundational piece from where they start their work. They did a lot of fact finding and so forth, and I found it to be very interesting information. I have forwarded it to each of our board members for your information and review. And if you have a chance, please take a look at it because it's very interesting. Under the Dania Beach Innovation System, we have the Dania Beach Business Academy first-time homebuyer classes that are going on during the month of August. We have had, as of the date of my report, we've had 81 registrations, and the classes seem to be attracting somewhere between 40 and 45 people per week for attendance. And I have had some follow-up conversations with people who have attended, and we're getting absolutely rave reviews on the content of these classes. For Dania After Dark, that was on August 13th. We had two really good bands, and we had a few less merchant vendors than expected because there had been some rain early in the afternoon that drove some of them away. We also had a little bit of challenge because we had to set up the whole event basically south of the circle at City Hall because of the polling station that's being held at the Dania Beach Library. But everybody involved in the process was very agile and adaptable, basically figured out how to get it done, and it turned out to be a really great event with great weather through the evening in spite of the earlier rain. As far as tracking Dania Beach businesses, that was a question raised by the vice chair in our last meeting. And the simple answer is no. It is not really feasible to track businesses as they come and go. The most typical way to do that is through the city's business licensing. However, we checked here and it's clearly not a comprehensive list of businesses that exist in Dania Beach. And that is typical of both city and county operations. If you don't actually enforce business licenses, you're lucky to cover as much as 28 to 30% of the businesses in your community. Now, what I did do is retail business has a little bit different opportunity for that, and I conducted a retail opportunity gap analysis using Claritas. And just to give you some information on that, this is actually tracking retail sales in the city of Dania Beach. And from 2021 to 2023, we did a 10.1% increase in retail sales. We're up at $1.3 billion for 2022 for our retail sales. I can tell you by comparison, the national year-on-year increase was slightly over 7%. So we can keep track of the health and stability and trend of our retail businesses, but we can't keep track of them on a business by business method. Our business attraction manager has conducted a number of the Bravo visits to our local businesses. Again, this month, from Artesanos to Atlantic Florida Dental, Anglers Bait and Tackle, Mr. Sharpie Locksmith, Grandpa's Cafe Bagels, Bakery and Deli, Got Cars LTG, Zen Mystery Cafe, Dolphin Jewelers, Caninos Karate and Boxing, Dania Discount Drugs, Rexall, and the place at Dania Beach. And what a workout. I wanted to also mention to you that we have met with the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance. They conduct what is described as these Bravo visits across the county. And the Alliance has agreed to send someone from their organization to work with us and conduct these Bravo visits for our local businesses as well. Kind of help us understand how to conduct the interview, what kind of information that we're trying to get, and so forth, as well as it keeps the Alliance in the loop with us. So that is something that will be continuing on through the future. Also want to announce that a new apartment is coming online. The Oasis Point residence on Bryan Road is now in their leasing phase. They've started leasing. One bedroom units range from $2,000 to $2,500 per month. Two bedrooms range from $2,800 to $3,200 a month. And they have one unit that is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath that is leasing for $4,200 a month. This is a building with a lot of amenities, but it gives you an idea of our current market rate for apartments. As for the patch has been donating some of its summer good production to people such as Saratoga Crossings and the Harvest International Outreach Ministries. Again, part of our community health program to help support these organizations with healthy foods. And also, we've been conducting a number of activities together with Parks and Rec for school tours and so forth, as well as sending people to talk with the kids who are going to our Parks and Rec buildings to tell them about the patch and how to grow a garden and that type of stuff. The last piece that I want to mention on this is that the 2022 Florida Festivals and Events Association is having their annual conference, and it's underway right now as we speak. Kathleen and Keisha are both at that conference. We have received a sensational award for this year's Arts and Seafood Festival, and they're there to receive the awards. And that concludes my admin report.
Excuse me. Thank you. Next on the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. I told you I'm getting used to do this all over again. Board Member Llewellyn.
Thank you. Mr. Chen, is the patch going to reopen? And if so, when?
Yes, actually, it is open. It's not doing the regular farmers markets on Saturdays, but they are now taking volunteers in. They're doing tours from classes and organizations. So it is, again, it's not a full-fledged, but it is a ramping up opening. It's definitely engaged.
Okay, so but it is going to be back to where it was because
Absolutely.
it looks like it's closed.
No, well, I'm sorry for what it looks like, but I can tell you it is, we are booking tours. And in fact, there's a film company that wants to do a film shoot on the patch as well. And they are working with organizations to do tours, and they're doing regular volunteer programs on a daily basis.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the consent agenda. Do we have any pulls?
Move the item.
No, I have a pull. I have the budget for, 7.2.
That's not on the consent.
Oh my gosh. Y'all bear with me today. Lord Jesus.
Move to approve the consent
I
agenda.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So close. Discussion and possible action. 7.1.
Thank you. This is basically the heart of this is the IP to Market Incubator and Satellite CRA office. This is a follow-up. As we had discussed in June, I have found a location to discuss with you. But first, I need to provide you some summary information so that it's clear and comprehensive in your consideration for this. First of all, I do want to refer you to the 2015 CRA plan. Both Goal 1 says to develop a one-stop community resource center, create partnership with local businesses and universities, and bring about a targeted business incubator accelerator to city center. Under Goal 4, it's organize networking events for entrepreneurs, connect entrepreneurs to support in Florida and Broward County, determine a potential location in the downtown area, and find a location in downtown for an art center or incubator. Now, to address those goals, I have gone out and initiated the development of an innovation ecosystem in Dania Beach. And the activities, progress, and achievements on that activity has been part of my monthly reports since April of 2021. I have provided monthly updates on various aspects of an ecosystem that is happening in Dania Beach. The first tangible step in developing an ecosystem was the MOU with FIU for the mission to market for inclusive economic development, which was approved. And the stated purpose of that agreement was, and I quote, to further the M2M mission by focusing on STEM, entrepreneurial workforce development, innovation ecosystem development, business incubator and accelerator network, and technology transfer and commercialization. As a follow-up to that, after certainly several months of continued work with FIU as well as other facets of our innovation ecosystem, at the April 12th, 2022 meeting, Dr. Chris Ford came, and in his presentation, he announced that FIU had approved to open a IP to market hospitality and technology incubator in Dania Beach. Now, there are a number of very important distinctions about this incubator that I need to bring to your attention. The first piece of it is FIU will cover all the cost of directly operating that incubator. The incubator.
Can you expand on that?
Pardon?
Can you expand on all the costs?
All the costs of directly operating the incubator. So basically, the faculty, the technologies, the slides, the videos that they're doing, the advertising, the promotion, everything that is directly tied with conducting the incubator is being paid for by FIU. This incubator has direct ties with two federal agencies, the Department of Energy and the Economic Development Administration, one of which is in the executive branch of government. This type of incubator with federal agency ties is the first of its kind in the nation. Both Department of Energy and the EDA, both of them mandate inclusive innovation. Their policies require inclusion of people in underserved communities with a special focus on minority, women, and Hispanic-owned businesses. IP to Market was established to tap the trillions of dollars of patented technologies developed by federal labs, research institutions, and industry to foster economic development. This incubator focuses on commercializing patented technologies. This is a Silicon Valley type of incubator that is unique in South Florida. All the incubators that you may know of, particularly in our metro area, from Broward College to Nova to FAU to whoever, These are general incubators that focus on starting up businesses. This incubator focuses on commercializing technologies for high-tech businesses. Very unique. FIU estimates that this incubator will generate 3 to 5 new businesses each year, and typically those businesses will create an average of 13 jobs with wages of upwards of $80,000 per year. And with it being in Dania Beach, we will be in an advantageous position to capture those new startups. The incubator is an economic development initiative that will strengthen our ability to secure funding for the West First Avenue Complete Streets project. And FIU has already advised that they would be willing to provide a letter of support for our application when we're ready. And they are willing to discuss perhaps even being a co-applicant to the application. This project is probably somewhere in the range of a $2 to $3 million project. And what I'm saying is this incubator will assist to accelerate our ability to access funding for that project. The incubator will be an economic engine to support and stimulate businesses. And in the right location, it will be an anchor to establish a Dania Beach Innovation District. And an innovation district is a very important part. It's an important piece of a lot of cities that are emerging around the world. I quote, innovation districts that practice inclusive innovation advance inclusive outcomes for residents living in or nearby the district and strives to build wealth by expanding the ownership of homes and businesses. Brookings Institute. Quote, innovation districts today play a key role in the economic development of cities. They attract mid and high income jobs and offer opportunities for more efficient land use, movement patterns, and for better livability and environmental outcomes. Urban Land Institute. That is something that we can put and center it in our downtown. We are also connecting this incubator to the city and its businesses via the Technical Advisory Board. That is basically a steering committee for FIU to keep the content and information in the incubator relevant to changing industries. Some examples of people who are invited or who will be invited to this technical advisory board. In terms of venture capital, we have a Boston-based venture capital company. The CFO and partner of Q-Ball Capital has agreed to be on this technical advisory board. That will put a venture capital company active in Dania Beach. For a developer's role, Daniel Debakaroff of Skyland Development. For hotels and hospitality, Dev Metwani. For hospitality and cruise lines, we need to find someone who can fill that slot for one of our local cruise lines. The Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association, Rosetta Mobabi, the regional director. Applied Technology, Mark Aptican, CEO of Mad Studios. For healthcare, Lynn Quist, CEO of Viking Technologies, a headquarters company that moved to Dania Beach this past January. For aviation, I've already had some conversations with Spirit Airlines. They seem to be very interested. We'll have to find the right level of management that will be willing to serve on this advisory board. For international networks, we have Nick Kuchova, who is a retired U.S. diplomat. In his last assignment, he was the U.S. Senior Trade Officer for all of the Baltics, as well as Scandinavia. We also will invite Florida International Airport and Port Everglades to have representatives on this board. So in the search for the office, I looked for viable properties, both in terms of office space and retail space across the CRA, and I found 8 potential locations with rents that ran from $60,000 per year to $145,000 per year. The median of all the pricing I found was $75,600. All the options have additional costs, such as tenant improvements, furnishings, utilities, maintenance, AC, all the other things that goes with operating an office, except for one of those properties. The co-working space at 25 North Federal Highway meets all the criteria that are desirable for the anchor of an innovation district. And it was the lowest cost option, and it has the lowest risk in terms of additional monthly cost. The tenancy is done through an annual membership agreement. It's an annual agreement. It does have a renewable provision for 5 years. And it has includes our CRA and incubator space, all tenant improvements, furnishings, maintenance, air conditioning, utilities, conference room, common kitchen and break room, phone and Wi-Fi, all under the fixed annual cost. And I did check with IT because I did recognize, being a city office, that we would not be doing our business over a public Wi-Fi network. So IT has estimated that to provide a secure network internet connection for this office would initially cost $8,000, and it would be a $250 per month ongoing fee for maintaining the connection. The summary in that is, in the annual co-working space, including contingency for currently unknown expenses, it is a $66,000 a year expense. And there is a one-time deposit and setup cost of $15,500. Target occupancy is mid to late October. And I'd like to point out that the Skyland co-working space that's under discussion is the first private sector investment resulting from the incubator. And that's my summary.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions? Vice Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor, Chair. Michael, you and I had talked about this earlier, and some of the things I see that you have on here now are some of the things we didn't discuss earlier. The price went from 5,000 to 5,500, and then also this the installation equipment's another 8,000, and the miscellaneous setup's another 2,500. Now you're up to 66,000, 76,000. You're up to 81,000. Is that correct?
No, sir.
Okay.
The setup costs are a one-time cost. That's deposits. That's the installation of the secure switch and so forth. The ongoing cost is about, in fact, I estimated 65,000 because the actual rent paid is 60,000. Then there's $250 per month for IT. And then, there's going to be some incidental operating expenses with employees being there.
Okay, I got you. Okay, I know. I'm sure there's always kinds of incidentals. I'm just looking at the numbers a little bit. I guess when I said the 8,000, it's a one-time fee to come up in there. You know that if the college is coming in there, if I use it right, and you're telling us it's all, they're going to take care of everything that's going in there. I'd like to know. I mean, what is it that you're doing there that they need us to do? You see what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense that we're in there renting the room. We're paying for the room. They're utilizing mostly their people, correct? That they're going to the incubator, right?
They are using all of their own faculty, yes.
Yeah, they're using all their faculty to create all these new positions that may or may not come into our city as a technological city. And then we're starting talking about going back. I'm just going to go back down. I'm going to go backwards. And then we start talking about looking at the rates of how much it costs per square foot to rent a place in Dania Beach. So these people that are going to come out and making 80,000 a year plus, they're not going to be able to afford much of anything to do a business unless they got some form of an investor. or be able to even live in the city of Dania Beach, paying $3,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment or $2,500 a month. I I'm listening to what you're saying, and all these things are ringing in my ear uh, about what's going on here. Listen, I don't I like the program. I do like the program, but I don't understand some of the funding on it. Why a college of that size that has a lot of money, why we're paying for it. That's the only part I don't get. I don't understand why we're stepping in, other than just to me, it looks like we're paying for something to get recognition. That's what it looks like to me. A recognition that we have an incubator in our city, that we're creating a technological school for FIU. I mean, we're participating as a partner basically. But I don't know. I just don't get it all the way. I'll let you go back in a minute when I'm done. Um, so and then you're going to ask us for that money, okay? Which I guess on our program here, I guess that's coming up next. Your proposed budget. And when the budget comes up and we start talking about that, obviously you're going to be asking for that, and who knows what else, and so on. And going back to the budget, I'm trying to figure out on the budget. I haven't seen it. So if I haven't seen it, I don't know where the money's being distributed already, and we're getting ready to ask for more money. So I'm kind of like that. This item should have been maybe brought up after the budget, so we see where the money's at are coming from, and then what you're going to need, and then before we approve or disapprove this particular item, because this item is creating another something that I'm speaking for myself, and I don't know about the rest of the board, but we don't know where the monies went this year from your budget. I mean, we know it's to the Art Seafood Festival. We know it went to the Dania After Dark, but you have $1,000,004, I think, in the budget to start off with, and I'm trying to figure out where that's going. Then this is just me again thinking in a different way. There's been opportunities where I brought up a long time ago about selling some of the lots that we're not going to be able to afford to build on. That money could have been put in escrow, and then you would have not had to ask for this money for this incubator program. It might have been there as an asset to that. I'm just saying there could have been monies there for that instead of having to ask for the budget. I can go on and on about how I feel about certain things as a business person and how I think things are, but I'm just venting a little bit on not quite understanding the whole idea of what we're doing. But that's just me. I'll pass it. If I have any more questions, I'll come back to it again.
Thank you. Um, Board Member Davis?
Yes, thank you, Chair and Director Chen for providing this. I'm just trying to clarify everything as I understand it as well. And the first thing that I believe you mentioned is that this is indeed part of the CRA plan for the city. And so to me, that is what connects us to FIU, is that this is in the actual plan for the CRA to create this partnerships with the universities to create an incubator system. So this is something that is supposed to be happening and something that is supposed to be done by the CRA at some point in time, however we decide to do it. Um, in addition, I just want to make sure that we did move forward with Chris Ford, with Dr. Ford. When was this, in December 2021?
The MOU was approved in December of 2020.
2020. Okay. All right. So I'm just trying to get my facts here. And then, so at that point, then the university said that they wanted to move forward, and we agreed. We signed the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, to move forward with the partnership with FIU in order to create this incubator system that is in the actual CRA plan. So I see how it weaves together as far as how we're connected with FIU. Um, the the caveat, I guess, what you're saying is that it's a very unique position, or it's a very unique incubator in the fact that you said it was going to be, I think, the only one of its kind in the nation. And so I'm just wanting to understand, um, is that because it's commercializing the technology, what makes it unique and one of a kind, and nobody else has it like that,
Okay.
to this point?
specifically this incubator and the whole concept of how this incubator was set up is through a program that was a partnership between FIU and the U.S. Department of Energy. It is actually specifically to use uh, national and federal technologies for economic development, to grow new businesses, to start new industries. All right. And this incubator is the first and only incubator at this time that is associated with the Department of Energy on that program. It is expected through the future, once it's proven how this works and how it generates new businesses, it is expected to be spread across the United States.
Okay. And that was the other thing, is that this incubator is supposed to attract maybe 3 to 5 businesses per year. Is that per year once it's up and running?
I'm going to state it a little bit differently. They are expecting to host two 14-week incubator cohorts per year, and each of those programs, they'll have 20 to 25 people in those classes. From those classes, they expect to generate 3 to 5 startup businesses a year.
So from the two 14-week classes, we're expecting that the projection is 3 to 5 business startups with 20 to 25 employees.
No,
Or
I'm sorry.
clarify. Yeah, that's what
There are some numbers there, and it's easy to get them mixed up.
Okay.
The classes themselves, 2 classes per year,
Mhm.
20 to 25 people per class.
Okay.
As far as productivity of the program, they are expecting to generate 3 to 5 businesses per year. And each of those businesses, on average, they would expect to generate 13 new jobs at $80,000 per year.
Okay. And because this hasn't been done before, these are just projections based on.
Actually, the formality of this being the DOE incubator
Mhm.
is underway right now. It just hasn't parked in Dania Beach yet. All right. FIU has been structuring these classes for the past 4 years, working with the Department of Energy out of their South Miami campus,
And
okay,
it's
their
okay.
Flagler campus. And they are generating new businesses already out of that. They're getting businesses, connecting them to funding sources. Um, there's, they have, it's not just a shoot from the hip estimate. They actually have ongoing records with entrepreneurial and technology incubators for doing this. It just now has the name of Department of Energy on it.
Okay. Okay. All right. And then I did have something else. I believe you called it like the steering committee or the technology advisory board.
Yes.
So these are people from different parts of the technology industry that would act as people who would stay on top of the technology trends. Just share a little bit more about their specific purpose and why they were selected.
So let me start with a reminder that the incubator itself is called the IP to Market Hospitality and Technology Incubator. And that is because both Department of Energy and the EDA wants to spread the technologies. They don't want to just focus on one thing. They want this to be a versatile incubator that will use technologies from all that can benefit and impact a variety of industries. So the 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 incubator that would be here does have a specific focus of hospitality, but it also has other types of technologies such as aviation, medical, medical device technologies, computer sciences, uh, artificial intelligence, virtual reality. All of these types of things will be part of the technologies that they will collect and develop under this program. So the selection of the technical advisory board is to identify local people who are active in the businesses that are using and would benefit from the development of these technologies.
Okay. And last question here is that you said that you believe that you could begin this incubator, and FIU's expecting us to begin this incubator based on the MOU mid-October to late October this year.
That is this year, and that is the projection from the Sky Spaces. They figured that with an approval tonight, they can uh, begin tenant improvements and so forth, and they can provide occupancy of the space in mid to late October of this year.
And the long-term goal, I know it's in my last one, the long-term goal is for it to become a Dania Beach Innovation District.
Yes. The part of that is because an innovation district and an incubator of this sort becomes the network for our businesses. Um, and in fact, if I'm going to take liberty in a conversation that I had with City Manager Garcia, we were talking about Beacon Technologies. And Beacon Technologies is a company that moved to Dania Beach, but they're leasing space. And the question was, what are we doing and how do we keep them here? And that is the good question. And the way you keep companies in a community is to get them engaged and active in a community. And so an innovation district and an incubator of this source becomes the network where they become engaged with the community and part of it. So it becomes where it's no longer just a matter of what's the next lease rate that they can go someplace else to. They become they develop a loyalty and a connection to the city that they're in because of the engagement.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Llewellyn?
Yeah, I just wanted to, 'cause I also spoke with Mr. Chen about this whole suggestion previously. Um, and I just want to make sure that it is clear that if you're doing this, that there is a way to evaluate how this is going over a period of time, and a way that if it is not leading to the results that are being suggested, that we can get out of the arrangement. Basically, I don't want to end up right. It's only 1 year, so it's only a 1 year lease and only a 1 year involvement.
The agreement is a 1 year. It has renewable provisions, but that's at our choice and discretion.
Right.
We can develop benchmarks such as everything from the number of people who actually attend this to how much money is generated through venture capital because of this type of program, to how many startup businesses are created, and hopefully our ability to connect and retain some of those businesses that are starting up here.
Right. And that's just my only clarification. There needs to be a way to evaluate it. There do need to be
Yes.
benchmarks. We need to make sure that we're checking up on it to make sure it's not just money being thrown out the door. That's all.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I have a whole list of questions. So, number one, I am a little unsure why we are having this discussion right now, and we haven't had a budget discussion. We haven't had a budget workshop. We haven't had a budget book or budget presentation as we've always had. And if I can recall, the last year that we came to a similar situation, knowing that as a CRA we get our funding from the city, we then decided collectively, or we had that discussion, that we should do this budget discussion first before we even dive into a city budget, which we've received the city's budget. We haven't received a budget book or a budget workshop as of yet. So just first and foremost, I think that, in the CRA plan, yes, it's in the CRA plan from 2015. How often do we need to do a CRA plan update, Mr. Chen?
Well, it's underway right now.
Okay, how often is it recommended to do a CRA plan?
You should do a CRA plan update every 5 to 6 years.
Okay, this is
This is 6
all
years.
the way, this is 7 years. So this is far beyond that scope, and this is why we're doing a plan update. We had a lot of different plans that we had for City Hall, and guess what? Things happened, and we changed course, And now we are having different conversations like the West Wing and other ways to make City Hall more viable. Um, I don't understand the operating time. So how often would this business or will FIU operate? What are the dates and the times?
Well, as I said, they will conduct two 14-week incubator cohorts per year. So that means 28 weeks out of the year, they will be having active incubator classes going on.
Dates and times though.
They
Like what
don't have the dates set up for next year. No,
so they have dates set up for next year. So we don't know the amount of time that they're going to be um, occupying the space that we're going to be paying $60,000. We already pay a portion of the budget for resources here in City Hall, like for IT, like for copying and all those other administrative tasks. Is that included in this incubator plan or is that an additional cost?
no, actually, I would expect the CRA staff that would occupy this space when they have copy tasks and so forth, that they would come here and use the machines in City Hall rather than to pay additional fees that would be on a per page for the common copiers and so forth. For small print jobs, they would have their own personal printers.
So
And
they
that
have to
is
go
in there.
back and forth from that satellite office to City Hall to get certain resources.
Well, that's not exactly a daily trip, and it's a half a block diagonal across the street.
How many of the CRA staff will be located in this? Because I
I
don't know,
I see two of them going there.
two. I don't know, and how many parking spaces are? I don't know if you all went there. I went there. How many parking spaces are here?
I'm sorry, behind the building?
How many parking spaces are available for this place? It's two, correct?
No, there's approximately 30 parking spaces behind the building. It's first come, first serve.
So when I went there, I was told it was dedicated to your office space,
They
correct?
offered to dedicate two spaces, but it's better just to do it for first come, first serve, because at this time, that building is vacant.
Okay. So when this plan is up and running and you have over 25, 30 participants in this, including all the staff that's going to be necessary, what is the plan for parking?
Well, the City Hall garage is right across the street, so that would be the overflow for
Right across the street?
it. Yeah, 40. The address of this building is 25 North Federal Highway.
The address is, yes, and this address is 100 West Dania Beach Boulevard.
Yes.
It's not just like going from the Morrison here. I just want to put things in perspective because I did a lot of my homework with this. And how can we guarantee that the 3 to 5 businesses, and I'm hearing the accountability too. I don't know how we can guarantee the 3 to 5 businesses that are going to come from there will be located and established in Dania Beach that they will even open. How are we measuring that?
Well, they're receiving their training and their opportunity in Dania Beach. It will be in a Dania Beach office. It will also be that Dania Beach will have constant participation in the presentations as well as opportunities to present ourselves and what we have to offer businesses here. And frankly, this kind of goes to something that the vice mayor was asking. Yes, our our lease rates are high, but when you compare the lease rates of an office space in Dania Beach along Federal Highway corridor at somewhere between $21 to $23 a square foot, compare that to Fort Lauderdale, which is our next door neighbor, at $40 and $50 a square foot. So yes, our rates are high, but we are in the center of a market that is beneficial to many businesses. All right, businesses don't just simply go where they can find the cheapest rents. Otherwise, we would have the entire nation's business in Kansas. All right, businesses locate where there are markets for their products and workforce and so forth to support their business operations. That's what we have to offer, and we do it cheaper than our neighbors.
Okay, I just don't know how these things are tangible, and I do think that we need to comprehensively look at the entire budget to decide what we want to include and what we don't want to include. I definitely, I mean, if my colleagues haven't even been to the space, I think it's very difficult to even understand where I'm coming from and what I'm seeing with space. And, like how we always have these day after dark events here and our staff can go up here if they need something. Now you're going to be displacing them away from that. I don't know with the relationship that we are building and we have built thus far with the CRA and we have come a long ways, why we are separating them. And then if an emergency or something was to happen and that has to close down, where are they going to go? These offices are not going to stay vacant. Every every budget cycle, we are growing as a city and we are getting more employees, which lets me know once those two office spaces or two people from the CRA are gone from City Hall, it's going to be hard to return. I just don't understand why we're spending over $60,000 a year in a program, a brand new program, and we haven't mastered the programs that we already have, and we haven't had a full comprehensive discussion about the entire budget, what we want to cut out of the budget, the priorities of any of our board members. We haven't even discussed any of that. We don't even have a budget book, and it's August. Budget cycle is October 1 of the fiscal year. We don't even have a budget book. We haven't looked at it. We haven't had time to spend time with it or spend time with you and our staff or our finance director in our own commission budget for the city. I don't like I like the program. I definitely all the other schools that are doing programs in their schools, they're footing their own bill. I just don't think that we should be footing the bill for FIU to come here. We don't know the dates and the times that they're going to be occupying the space. We don't know how long. We have projections. We don't have any concrete evidence. This is so unique in the nation that no one else has done it. And I could tell you other people haven't done it because cities aren't paying for colleges to come in and occupy space when they don't even have projected dates and times of the next year and they want to start in October for $60,000 a year in a year where we don't know where the economy still is going to go. So I'm not supporting this at this time right now. And that's my opinion on it.
Actually, most incubator operations are supported by cities and counties in which they exist. And an example, a really prime example of that is the Nova University Innovation Center, which the county has invested $6 million.
The county, I said the city.
I'm just telling you.
Okay.
It is customary for cities and counties to pay for the locations of incubators within them.
I haven't seen it,
Okay.
and no one else, and this is the first of its kind in the nation to have backup to back that up.
Thank you. Well, I think we got enough discussion on this. So since we don't have the budget, so my position would be that we don't know whether we're going to take the budget and give more money to the budget or take money away from the budget when we do the budget. But if we can take a vote on the program and it happens to be in his budget, then we can make a decision whether for to move forward or not. If it gets to the point we approve it to a point that it's that, and he says, "Well, I can't afford it in my budget," then it doesn't go. I mean, at least we don't have to keep bringing it back. We can make a decision whether we like the program or whether we don't like the program. So I'm asking the board if you're happy with it, if when the budget comes up and it's enough money in the budget so he can make it work if he has it there, I'm asking the board to go ahead and approve it and give him a shot at it. But if we don't like the budget and there's no money there, then he can't do it. That's just my opinion.
Okay. Oh, go ahead. I got you, Commissioner. Board Member Davis.
No, I just think that's a very fair way to go about it. I do think that the budget should come first, but I think that the vice mayor is right that, in support of the program itself, but based on the contingency that the vice mayor brought up. So I'm agreeing with the vice mayor.
Okay. I'm in support of the program. I'm not in support of the logistics of it at all. And I'm not. I could say I support the program, but I'm not going to say I support the program. And if you find the money in your budget to put it there, there's still a lot of logistics that needs to, and a lot of answers there's a lot of answers that I asked that we don't have any answers for. I urge you all to go and look at that space to understand it. and look at that parking and the situation that we have there and the accountability that we're going to have there. We don't, like I said, we don't know dates and times. They could be operating for 1 hour for those 14 weeks, and then what? What are we doing? What are we doing with the rest of the space? So, I for the program only, that I agree with, but I think that we have other options. Have we asked to rent out any spaces in City Hall? Have we asked to go to our parks and recreation programs to see? I mean, this is going to be a first year program. You have to get the businesses excited. Look how hard it is for us to get people on program with our own initiatives and our own programs. So we're going to go rent out a space in hopes that we're going to fill it up in our first year. I don't agree with that part, but just with the other part, Vice Chair, I agree with.
Yeah, I understand that, and I think you have a lot of good, valid points there. I think with just like any other business that you start up, there's always a roll of the dice. One of the things I do have to say about the parking situation is that we do have a parking garage, and I know it's not as far away, especially as it seems. But like when you park at beaches or you park in park garages at beaches, you take a walk, and there and downtown cities are you take a walk and a block or two to get to where you have to go. The other thing about that I forgot to bring up the first time though, it is something that's gonna be like in our downtown district that we're working on, and I think that it's important that we have something like that in there. It's a 1 year trial. I mean, it's a gamble on a business that we see whether or not it works well, and maybe it brings us fame and fortune, and maybe it brings us failure. Who knows? But I mean, if it's not in the budget, it's something. If he has the money and he wants to cut our program out, that's going to be his call as a CRA director. If we don't like it at that point, then he suffers a consequence. But I think we should just take a vote and see if he can move on. And if he brings back the different logistics and stuff and says this is what's going to happen, maybe it'll be everybody happy. But we give them money to do a program. He's a CRA director, and I'm going to try to support it to a point where until he shows us he's either doing great or he fails. So that's my point. So I'd like to make a motion to move this item forward, contending on the budget, whether he can do it or not, and so on and so on.
I don't understand your motion. Are you? I don't understand it. Are you making it so that
you make the motion? You speak better.
Are we doing it? Are we making a decision on what do we want to move?
He's gonna make it out of his. He's gonna either make it work out of his budget, or when we agree to the budget. If he can't figure it out or doesn't want to give up something else, then the money's not there for him.
So we don't set the priorities of the budget.
We're going to set the priorities of the budget, and it's
Okay.
either within the budget that we set. If the money is not available and he has other programs and he can't afford to do it, that's going to be it's a business he's going to have to step away from.
Okay, I just want to be clear because time and time we go through the budget and we say what we want to take out and what we want to put in. We set the budget.
Right. I mean, that's the only way I would agree to it at this point is that if he can do it in the budget that we set.
Can I make a recommendation?
So we.
Can I make a recommendation?
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
I just want to be clear that we have the budget discussion between us and we set our priorities within that budget. And if we decide we want to move forward with that program, we're deciding that because that's typically how budgets work. They present a budget, we decide what we want and what we don't want. And at that point, it's up to either the city manager or the executive director to carry out the budget that we set. I just don't want us to forget the power that we have. We don't just say go run and do whatever with the budget if you can afford to do it. We stand behind that. So I don't
word it whatever way everybody's happy with, as long as we can give them an opportunity to make a step forward.
Is everyone happy with saving this for the budget discussion? That way we discuss. I know, but he's saying word it to where everyone is happy. So I'm trying to word it. Okay, I'm trying to give mine, and then you can give yours. So is everyone okay with saving it for budget discussion if we decide it's something that we want to move forward with, when we look at comprehensively all the programs and stuff that we want to do within our budget, then we make that decision then? Is anyone not okay with that? Hold on, let me put your mic on.
Not okay with that because I think what we need to do is make a decision now. My suggestion would be to move this for approval, contingent upon budget discussions. And then this way, it's there as one of the programs that we are discussing for budget at that point.
Well, that's the same thing as putting it as a budget discussion.
Well, you're just talking about not even saying approval at this point. You're just saying hold off and then we'll talk about it then. Like it's not
Because
even something
approving
that.
this is approving the monies and everything for that. I don't want to approve the monies
That's why I
for
said contingent on. That's why I said contingent on
I
budget
think that's
discussions.
semantics. I think it's the same
No,
thing.
it's not.
Okay, board member Ottman.
All right, so now I don't know if it's semantics or not. I thought you were saying the same thing, but actually now I don't think you're saying the same thing. So can I hear the suggestion of the city attorney to see if it's helpful?
I was going along the lines of what the chair was thinking, which was, why don't you have your budget discussions and come back at the end of the meeting and vote on approval of the lease. I mean, it's basically a lease, so approval of the lease if you agree to it in the budget.
Okay, thank you. So that's Mayor, is that or Chair, is that what you were saying?
Yes,
Essentially?
but
Okay,
yeah,
then
I
that is what I'm in favor of. Thank you.
okay.
Just defer to the end of the meeting. That's all.
Well,
So
I don't think okay,
Defer the item and go to number 2.
That's what I'm saying.
So you're saying go to 7.2 and then come back to 7.1.
Correct.
I'm saying, well, if we had enough time to do that, but now we're gonna have a budget discussion of a budget that he put here for less than 30 minutes. Like, is that really fair for us to make decisions on a fiscal year budget in less than 30 minutes, including all of this? I think we have real budget workshops like we always do for our CRA in our city, and we do it the right way. And
We didn't always have budget workshops. The only time that we started having budget workshops was the year that we had the $500,000 deficit. That was the first time we'd had a budget workshop for CRA.
oh, I disagree. I've been here since 2016, and I've had budget workshops. So.
For
Okay.
CRA, no.
Okay. Commissioner Davis, Board Member Davis, sorry.
Well, I am in favor of the program, and I think as long as we can go back and say that we do or don't want the program when we have our budget discussions, then we can, take that item out. But I do think, there is a time sensitive issue with letting FIU know, or if we're starting this program in October, that we need to move forward on the item, and then when we have our budget discussion, then we can remove it, do whatever we feel like doing with it. But I think that moving forward with it contingent upon the budget discussions, that we can go ahead and move forward. So I want to approve the program now, and then if we need to take it out or whatever needs to happen after, then we can do it after.
Can I ask for clarification? When we're talking about the program, are you just talking about allowing the incubator to go forward, but not necessarily it have to be this space?
I'm talking about moving the entire
Okay.
program forward.
Thank you. Which includes the lease. Got it.
Yes. And if, yeah, that's it. I'm talking about moving the entire program forward. We should have some discussion about the line items. I don't think, it's not feasible to do it within this 30-minute time frame. We do need, since it's going to take more time to get the meeting dates together, time to have the budget discussion. And I think that it's better to move forward, and check it off the list. And if we need to go back and revisit it later and have further discussions later, then we can do that at that time.
Vice Chair.
I see all the direction everybody's going, and I think everybody's in favor of the program. I understand the chair as well. We need a book in front of us looking at our budget. Okay, we need a book looking at the budget. We're not going to do it in 30 minutes. We might as well postpone that part of that 7.2 until we get a budget in front of us, and then come back with it, because right now we're at a situation where and I understand. I like the item. My point was, I was hoping we could pass the item on the contingency that it was in the budget, that the budget would have been able to pay for it, and that we agreed to that part in the items that we select in the budget. That's what I was looking for. But it would have been a lot nicer if we'd had before you ask for more, we knew we had, and I understand that. So I'm going to withdraw my motion. I'm going to ask us to table it. I'm also going to ask us to table the next item, because we need a budget, and if we can, and the director can have a budget set up and placed in us by the next 2 weeks, maybe we can authorize a little time to look it over and maybe give them 30 minutes in front of our next meeting. Or 45 minutes for our next meeting and be able to make a decision on that particular item in that particular budget at that time, so we can move it faster instead of making them wait another month. At least it puts us in a position where we know what we're talking about. So it's up to you guys on how you want. Instead of having a budget workshop, maybe we can do it 30 or 45 minutes in front of the next meeting next time, and we get as long as we get the book in front of us in a week or 10 days. If you can't provide us in a week or 10 days for the budget, then we have to postpone it until you can.
Actually, Vice Chair, there's the budget proposal right here in this package. That's what this is.
That
Yes. It is broken down by every line item expense
Okay.
that we would know.
Well,
to
I
be
don't know.
there.
I saw that earlier, Michael, and and I don't know how you expected us to do a whole budget item, line item, in a meeting like this today.
Well, actually, I had planned to ask for a budget workshop, and I was advised that there's probably no dates available to do so. And so I was encouraged to put this on this agenda.
Okay. All right.
When did you want to do the budget workshop,
When-
and when did you ask for
I
that?
was planning to ask for a budget workshop as part of my administrative report,
Oh,
so
so
we could
now
actually
in
do
August?
that. So we could actually set a date to do that.
In August, okay. And I looked through that. It's $300,000 an increase to the budget that we need to go through and we need to discuss and we need to talk about what we want and what we don't want and things that we want to bring to the table to add. I know when I had my budget meeting with the city manager and with Frank, I know I asked for extra stuff to be put in that budget and things that maybe have to taken out of and how we would have to shift certain monies. And so I'm definitely not in favor of giving $60,000 lease without even discussing the rest of the budget. That can go into our parks facilities. We have $46 million in a parks master plan. $60,000 a year lease, and that we can't measure. I'm not.
When was this available to us, this budget?
Tom, when was it
Thursday.
published?
Thursday?
That's when it was published. It's
Yeah.
published like any other meeting.
Yes, but also when I spoke with you and when I set up the arrangements for a pre-briefing on this meeting, I sent all these materials to you in advance. So, I mean, how much lead time? You probably had this in your hands for upwards of about 2 weeks.
Who advised you to put this on a commission agenda and not have a budget workshop? Like, I'm not really speaking detail about it.
Well,
CRA.
yeah, I was advised that there's simply, it would be extremely challenging to find an additional date for a budget workshop at this time. That's what I was advised.
Okay, who advised you that?
Well, I guess people who are trying to manage the calendars.
Oh, okay. So you guys want to look for a meeting, a date for a budget workshop?
This.
I'm just,
No, I got you.
hold on one second. Tom, can you give us guidance of when this needs to be by?
I'll try.
The CRA meeting is September 13th.
It's
So,
actually the 14th.
oh, sorry, the 14th.
Yes, it was moved as well as the commission meeting.
Do you have on this on the budget? As I'm glancing at it, did you have the fiscal year 2021 to compare to those items?
There's a comparison between fiscal 2022, which is our current year.
That's what we're in, that you have here now, and you're asking for 23. Is that
Yes,
what you're
sir.
asking for, the budget request?
That is correct.
Because I'm looking down, just, I know we're running out of time. I just, what?
I said, you have time. We're not going to discuss the actual
Okay.
budget. so
I'm just going down the lines and I start seeing some of the prices and stuff, and, professional services, CRA marketing, you went from 51,000, you went up almost $100,000 on that one item.
Well,
Huh?
actually,
Yeah.
that's part of the description that I needed to have when we go into the budget discussion, because in the past, a lot of the CRA budget is put into accounts that were simply set up because of the generic accounts that are across the entire city. But there's a lot of CRA activities that doesn't make sense in those accounts. So I've actually spoken with finance to see about identifying some specific line item accounts that could be created that are more descriptive of CRA activities and programs. So this budget reflects moving those expenses around to places that they are more in alignment with the description of a name of a line item. So you can't do the horizontal comparison because in one line item, there may be a half a dozen things that were moved out of it. And so it looks like I'm asking for substantially less
We have
money.
$2 million.
The thing to look at is the bottom sum. The bottom sum
Yeah.
in total is about a $300,000 increase, which is 12%. And basically, we have estimated that program cost for the upcoming year will have an inflationary cost of probably 9 to 10%.
How much money we give you a year, CRA a year?
I'm sorry.
How much does CRA get a year?
Basically, excuse me, I have that.
Was it like 1.4 or something like that?
No, the CRA in 2022, the total CRA budget was $2,672,000.
That's what I was trying to say. Because I heard it was 1.4 and I'm looking at 2.4 here.
You're correct. It's 1.4 is the city support. The rest of that budget for the current year was coming from CRA reserves, and that was money that was carried forward the prior year. That a lot of the programs were suspended because of COVID. City still transferred in the full budget amount that year, and it was retained within the CRA to be reappropriated for
So
programs this year.
So we basically had 1.4 million, and I remember going back. Okay, I remember it was a million, then it went to 1,000,001, and so on. It was up to, now we're up to 1,000,004, and on top of the 1,000,004, there's another million spent out of the reserves to bring it this year to 2.4, and we need to have a workshop because I mean we went from 1.4 to 2.4 in a year that we're barely back to things and programs that are not running completely and some of these, that's why I like to see the 2021 expense as well.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, Frank, the 2022 budget was exactly the same as 2021, except for the changes in employee costs. Is that pretty close to correct?
I can't verify that.
Yeah,
Your mic is
yeah.
really low.
Sorry.
That's all right. You know what?
I'll get really
Okay,
close.
well,
Is
anyhow,
that better?
Mayor, Chair. Okay, I'd like to see the line items from 2020, 2021. I'd like to see how it increased so large, and because I can't understand. My heart, mind. I remember discussing it was 1.4. Now I see 2.4 and asking for $360,000 more. I need to see before I can vote on anything. I just changed my mind.
Yeah. Can I make a recommendation?
Yeah, I'm
Because,
trying to let your volume go up a little bit. Try now.
okay. Is that
We'll
is
work
that
with
better?
it.
I'll get really close. How's
Oh,
that?
that's great.
Okay. Um, what I would recommend is that because I haven't actually had time to workshop this item with the CRA. We did have a budget discussion a few weeks ago, and a lot of these items were on that discussion. But this item has not been vetted by finance, so
Yeah.
we really need to sit down and have a mutual understanding of what the CRA is requesting in its finality, not this preliminary format, because this is not complete. And then that item can be brought forward at a future workshop for you all to discuss and make
I
decisions.
can tell you right now that some of these items I'm looking at, we're duplicating through the city and the CRA. I mean, it's like we're double paying. I can see by looking stuff.
I said we already have cost allocation for IT and all that other stuff right here in City Hall that we have to pay, and then we're gonna have to pay again at the satellite office. Hold on, let me Commissioner Board Member Ottman. Oh, please hold. I don't know. Sorry. Go ahead.
So I was just gonna say respectfully, could we, everyone request what items they need from the CRA or executive director this week, and can we start working on what date we
Yeah.
want for
Yeah.
the workshop? Because
I'm here for it.
all right, so let's start that discussion now then.
Thanks,
if that's
Frank.
okay with y'all.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I agree. Oh no, we're looking for a date. You don't care about the date.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
CRA.
requesting that we do. So, Chair, if you want to start off with your first availability, and then we'll go down.
What days are best for you all? Any days, okay. What? Oh. Prior to the 14th. Can we try the week of September 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th? Okay, not that day. Yeah.
I have 6 available, and it would have to be after 4.
6th available after 4. I can do the 6th at what you want, 4:30?
It doesn't.
I'm saying you're saying after 4. I don't want to
Yeah,
say 4 o'clock.
4:30 is fine.
4.
What would you rather, Joyce? You have a 5. Okay, then let's do 5. That seems to be the
The
consensus.
6th at 5. Oh, that's gonna be a long day. Oh, let me put your mic on. I'm sorry. And then wait, before you go, let me let board member Llewellyn. Did you still want to speak?
That was all I was going to say.
Oh, thank you, Vice Chair.
Can I please request the line items from 20 and 21? I'd like to have
Sure.
those. I'd like to have those ahead of time so I can be prepared for the budget workshop for questions I have and expenses.
Okay, I'll be happy to provide the line item accounts to you, but since I've been here, I have never seen the accounts broken apart by line item
That's
expenses
okay.
like
I
we did
understand
here.
what you're saying about combining some of the stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to kind of get a little bit of a feel
Yeah.
of where $1,000,004 got to.
It's been here at this level since I've been here, so I'll be happy to provide those copies starting from 2021, 22, and
So
with the
2020 and
23.
2020 and 2021, 22 is here and 23 is proposed.
Yeah.
So to the 2 years prior to that.
Okay.
And on top of that, can I ask if you've consolidated those? Can I have the description of the consolidate? Like, I don't like it consolidated, and I know when the city manager did that one time, I asked for I want the final line item of what everything is going to be paid for, not a big chunk, and it's just professional services. Like, I want the breakdown of how you get to that number.
That's all detailed in this format already.
Okay, because you said it
Everything in
went
there,
from a
it's got a
50 to
column of
150.
every program, every expense that's anticipated for each account expense.
Okay, anyone else need anything? That we can think. If I think of anything else, I'll send you an email. All right. So we're going to board member comments. What? It's not your go. Board member Davis.
I have no comment this evening.
Oh, sorry. Board member Llewellyn.
No comments.
Board member Ottman.
No comments. Thank you very much.
Vice Chair.
No comment, thank you.
And I have no comments as well. Meeting adjourned.